enough to have some
IW?
fun.
Ready?
Yes, sir.
IW. Is it pronounced IW? We'll have to get.
Yes, it is, Kruger.
Okay. Maybe
Now recording.
maybe we can get our friend IW to weigh in on the way to pronounce his name.
We are 0 seconds in, and Kruger is already grinding my gears. All right. Welcome, everybody, to the Aladdin DAO Community Call for Wednesday, January 24th, 2024. We are discussing pronunciation of words, and we'll probably talk about some Aladdin stuff, too.
If we get to it. But right
Right.
now,
Oh, gosh. He might give like a totally different pronunciation for IW. You never know.
yeah, exactly. Maybe he's
Incognito, so double U.
yeah, it's
right.
W. W is the only that's a regional dialect, I'll say.
Yes, exactly. For
Yeah.
Southern gentlemen. There you go.
Are
All
they
right.
all-
Well,
Yeah, go ahead.
are they all? Well,
I was gonna say, are they all gentlemen in the South? I don't know. You're gonna have to tell me.
well, I speak from a population of one at the moment.
Right. I see. You are your own South.
Yes, I have my own survey. Okay. Well, let's jump into to FX right off the bat.
Yeah, I like it.
Yeah, we've got Epic 2 of the rebalance pool farming for the bonus FXN. That is still ongoing. So
It's ongoing, and actually, yeah. What are we, like 10 days into this guy?
yeah, over a week.
So plenty of time left to get in and farm some of that bonus FXN. The event has been a lot of fun to get some FXN out the door because we're not liquidity mining it yet. We want to, it's nice to be able to have a place to get your hands on some of it because it's just not that readily available.
Yeah, it's been pretty cool. I was complaining earlier about, most of crypto, the time is the number doesn't go up. But boy, I tell you what, you just look at like the TVL of FX and the numbers in the rebalance pools, and those are number go up, man. That is really cool to see. Like we hit 8,000 staked ETH yesterday, and we're cruising up already.
I saw that. It's good, and it's kind of like the classic Aladdin growth pattern where we're kind of it's a like building on what's there and continuing that stable organic growth. You can criticize me if you like, but I just find those like crazy. No, not you, Kame. It's everybody except you. I just having that kind of like a growth pattern makes me feel a lot more confident about where it's going rather than just like like that spike crash that we've all seen so many times. I've been burned enough times on those that I kind of like I have PTSD for it.
Yeah, it's been kind of fascinating too. It's at some point in time, I hope somebody puts together maybe like a Dune dashboard or something that charts like the collateral ratio versus sort of like price changes in ETH or something. It's been interesting to like watch that over time. That's been like something I've been following like pretty closely.
Well, it's tough because there's like it's driven. It's not. There are multiple independent variables there, right? Like because you've got the collateral ratio changes as the price changes, but then people's behavior changes both as the price changes and as the collateral ratio changes. So you've got this a three body problem there, my friend.
Yeah, it's just there's a lot to digest and take in, and man, the system's cooking. It's doing its thing.
Love to see it. Love to see it. We're good. Oh, I'm gonna Finance Goblin. Sorry, buddy. I'm gonna mute you. Drop a message in text if you need to say anything.
Yeah.
So the rebalance pool farming event, bonus FXN ongoing. We are expecting that to run until February 15th, and then there will be a distribution just like there was for the first one, and then. Once we get to that like February 15th ballpark, hopefully we're going to have some other sort of stuff to talk about with FFX, right? Like I'm kind of getting a little bit ahead of myself, but big news on the FX USD front. We have got code shipped and it is currently in audit. We have just sent out the FXUSD code 4 audit. So that is a big news, big step. Boy,
It's huge.
It's huge, and I'm hopeful. Our auditors are really good. But we'll see. Is it going to line up with the end of the second FXN round? Whew. I hope so.
Yeah, I tell you what, that's probably maybe one of the coolest things about DeFi, in my opinion, is my professional life, things move at a very glacial pace, taking years, if sometimes not decades, to play
lifetimes.
out. But we had when did we have the conversation about FXD? Kind of in the community call, like back in November or something. And now here we are.
It was not that long ago.
Already shipping things out. Like, it's really cool to see.
And I don't know if I've mentioned it, but I've been cooking up some drawings. Actually, no, I must have mentioned it because we released we published the article, the FXUSD article, the high level one, and it makes reference to a subsequent article that's going to have a little bit more kind of nuts and bolts. And I believe I used the phrase "diagrams for days," K-Mets, and that's where that's what I'm aiming for here. And so I'm thinking that the nuts and bolts article, we're probably going to try to drop that around the time when FXUSD goes live. And part of that's a little bit of gamesmanship too, right? Like we don't want to publish too much about exactly how the system's going to work until it's ready to deploy, particularly considering that we are one of those groups that audits every single bit of code that hits mainnet. That is the Aladdin way. And so, you don't want to get into a situation where you get front run because of your security practices. So we're going to get that article out, and I think that the A team definitely and the boosters are going to be the A team for sure, and then the boosters very soon after are going to be ready to start hitting the pavement once that stuff comes out and once FXUSD hits the ground. So. I'm really excited for that launch, and I'm really excited to start seeing how the FXN rebalance pool allocation, the gauge voting plays out, because it's such a cool part of that system, right? That liquidity engine of high efficiency liquidity for LSDs and anybody with an FX pair. And then how that kind of drives the available liquidity of FXUSD. Beautiful.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting to see how it performs, live, and sort of like the eyeballs that see it and sort of begin to start realizing, and it starts clicking for folks. It's going to be pretty cool.
Yeah,
I'm excited for
exactly. Yeah.
So
that's FXUSD out for first audit. And again, we don't make any promises about exactly when that deployment's going to happen, because that is with the auditors, and obviously the auditing is a process that we do not shortcut. So we will see what we get back from them, and any changes required will be sort of out. But we'll hopefully be able to, if not immediately, then we'll be able to talk about the next step for FFX soon, around the end of the FFX, the FXN bonus period, middle of February.
Very exciting. Yeah. Booster round. Yeah, we've got the booster round for FXN still ongoing. So we still have
ongoing for VEFXN holders. The derivative governance program, the derivative governance token votes have completed, I believe. That is everybody who doesn't directly hold, or all the tokens that have indirect exposure to VEFXN. So that's like VLCVX and XALD, and those have closed, but the rest are, or the VEFXN itself, those voting is still open until tomorrow, I believe. Tomorrow at early morning Eastern time.
That is correct, sir. Yes. So if you got VEFXN, make sure you go vote and
swing by the snapshot. It's funny too. I mean, you know what else I'd like to see sometime is I'd like to see a correlation between governance participation and general market sentiment, because I'd be willing to bet that they are positively correlated.
In terms of,
I think you get better governance participation when prices are up, because people are paying more attention and just more excited.
Oh yeah, for sure. Yeah, no, but everybody's willing to give up touching grass to go and sit in front of their computer.
Yeah. Oh, Finance Goblin. Can I join the booster program? Published 3 German-speaking videos. Man, of course. Yes. So the whole idea of boosters, of the booster program, is that you don't actually have to do anything to join it other than just, drop some links into. I don't think we have any native German speakers, and so we might not have. That's probably why we didn't notice your stuff just organically. But 100%. Drop a couple of links into the. In Aladdin, under contribute, so there's a contribute channel for each of the products. Contribute Clever, contribute FFX. Drop some links in there, but absolutely, yeah. There's nothing There's no process to join the booster program. You just do some boosting, which it sounds like you've already done, and then get your name in front of the voters. Man, I wish you'd have asked us like a week ago.
Yeah, we've actually instituted sort of a form to fill out, and
Yes.
so that's very helpful actually for us to sort of organize things. So I'll shoot you a DM after this, Finance Goblin, with our forms, and you can fill it out, and I'll get some new ones set up for the next rounds. But yeah, no, love it, man, absolutely. Thank you for supporting us, and that goes for anybody else that's listening to this or on the call. Like, help us out, get the word out there. Like,
yeah. And by the way, great handle, Finance Goblin. I like it. It gives me a mental image of you that's probably not correct, but I'm not gonna change it.
Okay.
All right. Back on rocking and rolling. Next up is an interesting one. So there is a proposal hitting the Frax governance forums to seed their FXUSD pair. So if you'll recall, and you can see in the article, talks about the mechanism for FXUSD. Basically, we're going to have the traditional FX stable leverage pairs that are going to underpin the FXUSD token. And the main difference between the FETH and XETH pair and all of the other pairs that FFX will have is that those F tokens, the stable tokens, are go automatically into the rebalance pool. You cannot withdraw them as anything other than FXUSD. So the FXUSD backing pairs, and the idea is that Frax ETH is going to be one of them. Those are going to, you're going to mint the stable, it goes into the rebalance pool, and then from the rebalance pool goes out to FXUSD. So we're going to propose to Frax, and we've been talking with them, so this is not going to be a surprise to the Frax team in any case. We've been talking to them about potentially having Frax seed their pair, that their pair that's going to underpin FXUSD. Is that about right, K-Mets?
Yeah, exactly. You nailed it.
So we should mobilize once that proposal goes live. I think we'll probably tweet about it, right?
Well, yeah, definitely get the word out.
We gotta get we gotta get the crew all together, get the gang all together over on the Frax forums, and support it.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, it's beneficial for stake Frax ETH and Frax ETH as well. So
hugely.
Hopefully it comes through very well for that. So
yeah, and I mean, the part of the reason why I'm kind of like banging on a little bit about sort of supporting this and talking about it is that this is the first it's the first kind of deployment of an FX pair, like a stable leverage pair, that, how's the best way to put this? We're like, for FETH and XETH, we sort of unilaterally deployed it based on the staked ETH reserve, and we raised the staked ETH needed to kick it off because it was bootstrapping a completely new protocol. But the principle of FFX is that these pairs and the reserve that they hold, as you've seen in the article that we already released, are actually an awesome, like super efficient way for protocols to build liquidity in their token, right? Like they're vastly more, well, they're like, there's something on the order of twice as cost effective as the typical approach of like incentivizing a swap pool, right? Because in a swap pool, you have your token that you want to build liquidity for, plus another one that you're just kind of pairing it with for swapping. So you're only getting, like, for every dollar you spend, only half of it is going to building liquidity in your own token. Whereas with FFX, 100%, the reserve is exclusively your token. So it's all fine and well to build a system like this that works, and we understand it works, but like getting it in front of these other protocols and these other sort of teams and helping them understand what like a great deal this is, we got to get sort of the ball rolling on that. And I think that this thing kind of sells itself once people understand it and see it. But with the very first time that we're trying to engage a protocol in actively seeding their own pair, I think it's really valuable to hit the pavement kind of thing. Does that make sense?
Yeah, exactly. And I think kind of the good news was sort of reaching out to Frax is they're familiar with us. We've talked with them about FX before. We've even been on Flywheel, of course.
We're in the DMs, as they say. That's
right.
what the kids say now, right?
Yeah, exactly. So hopefully that goes a long way as well. So very exciting. Yeah. So that'll be coming out. We'll probably post it today. So we'll share the link once it's up and
awesome. Watch the Twitter, the X.
Say hey.
Watch the X for our sheets. Is that ever not going to be funny? Because I kind of don't think so.
It's funny because you think it's funny. That's what
exactly. And you know what? I like to make my jokes for an audience of one, and if it ends up being bigger than one, that's just a bonus.
Well, you should always compliment yourself so you know that it's at least sincere, right?
Yeah, exactly right. All right, we got more FXN stuff to talk about here, right? There is another proposal, and so I'm just gonna share this one kind of verbally now. We don't have we're just cooking up the text now, and we've got to talk to a few more people before this is ready to share. But what we are thinking, and preface this by saying, like, please share your thoughts too, and follow along, drop comments and text as I'm talking if you like. As we're launching FXUSD, we're going to be really heavily focused on this new sort of dynamic of the rebalance pool emissions to the pairs that underpin FXUSD. We're really going to be pushing hard to try to get those get the message out, like I was just talking about with Frax. And internally on the team, we've been thinking a little bit about the FETH and XETH pair, and we want to make sure that the FXUSD launch doesn't like have some kind of a negative effect on the existing pair, right? Particularly on its stability. And so what we are thinking is as a temporary measure during the FXUSD bootstrapping period, we are thinking that a portion of the FXN liquidity mining emissions could be automatically carved out for the FETH XETH rebalance pool pair. So there's a few kind of reasons to do that. The main, like, the big picture is like we want to just kind of keep FETH and XETH sort of a little bit insulated from the chaos of a brand new launch with a variation of the system. Since the FXN is distributed kind of among all the different F of X pairs, it can very easily be influenced, right? So you've got this, if all of the heat is on FXUSD, we want to make sure that there is no chance for like a stability event happening as a side effect of the launch. So the plan is we carve out a fix of FXN each epoch, and again, the idea is that this is a temporary measure, and that goes directly to the FETH rebalance pool, and then the gauge vote allocates sort of the remaining, like all of the remaining FXN is allocated in the gauge vote to the other rebalance pools as originally intended. So it looks like Cyril likes the idea, but
Yeah.
Anybody else who's got thoughts on it, please let us know. We will be posting. Part of the reason we're not posting anything yet is that we haven't really nailed down numbers on what we're going to suggest as a fractional carve out. But that'll come soon, and then we're going to be putting that for a VEFXN vote to see if we have community support for making a little bit of an insulated bubble around FETH XETH during this launch period.
Yeah, always important to make sure you have like good stable transitions within especially
Yeah,
a big one like this with FXUSD because I
they
think
call it change management in the real world. Linero can tell you he's been in a boardroom or two, and they use baloney phrases like change management.
well, that's what we're doing. So
That's what we're doing. That's
we are
right.
managing the change.
We are a totally legitimate organization, Linero. We also buzzwords.
Cyril asked transition is a thing, but how about sustaining FETH? Is that something we want?
Well,
So
you know what? This is exactly the right way to think about it, in my opinion, because we talked about this quite a lot internally too. Because on one hand, like at the moment, FETH is entirely backed by Lido staked ETH, which is a little bit it's basically it's a protocol subsidy to Lido essentially. On like you can look at it one way as a protocol subsidy to Lido when we're automatically carving out FXN for the FETH backing. So it's not just like a given that we should be doing that. Now, I think that obviously we want to protect that FETH XETH pair from just like the chop of the FXUSD launch. So that's kind of why I talk about it as like a transition process and as a temporary thing. And also because of the FXUSD launch, I think it will actually make it a little bit more obvious how well the FXUSD sort of like FXN bribe game is working if we can kind of separate FETH from more or less separate it from the bribe game, and let the bribes kind of only be between the pools that are for zero beta tokens, if that makes sense. The idea being to just kind of like try to simplify things a little bit in the beginning for the voters, simplify it a little bit in terms of the team's ability to like track how well the system is working, and then also kind of insulate FETH. But in the long term, do we want as a protocol to sort of like keep our finger on the scale to sustain FETH? I don't know.
yeah,
It's not a straightforward answer. I mean, that's going to require discussion and governance. But one thing is for sure, which is that we don't like there are no plans to like abandon FETH, right? The idea will be, the big picture idea is always to let the market decide, right?
there you go. Yeah.
Obviously you want to make sure that you don't lose the FETH pair to like a technical or a short-term blip or something, which is mostly what this proposal is about. But in the long run, you want to kind of let the market decide, and it will be gauge votable. So at some point, the right move might be to just kind of phase out the automatic FXN carve out and allow organic votes to vote for rebalance pool emissions, because potentially at that point in time you will have FXN holders voting. If you have an FETH maxi who holds VE FXN or has some kind of governance control over it, they're probably going to be sustaining emissions to that pool, right? And so if you have enough market desire for FETH, then you should have some like demand for governance into funding that rebalance pool.
Yeah, I think, yeah, let's see. He says maybe.
And Cyril's wondering maybe an FETH v2 based on FXUSD backing mechanism and gauges. Every option is open. Absolutely. Yeah. And that's another thing too, right? Like the FXUSD model is quite different. We didn't just change the beta and kick this thing out the door, right? This whole idea of multiple backing pairs with locked rebalance pools withdrawing into only one single public liquid token, that's a big change. And so part of what we need to do with FXUSD is figure out if it works. I think it will.
One. Yeah.
But
yeah, I think so.
I mean, I'm pretty excited about the mechanism. It seems like it's gonna work, but we gotta test it in prod, right? We gotta get out into the real world and get it into the market. Other yield-bearing derivatives such as FCVX curve, will there be quasi-stable, or we all converge at the beta equals 0? To start with, says Finance Goblin. So to start with, we are looking at beta equals 0 for what we're calling the farming pairs, which is what you're thinking of, right? The FCVX curve, which if it's a beta 0, I guess we would call it FX CVX curve. I don't know. We'll see. In fact, I'm not sure that we want to name those tokens because if they're locked in rebalance pools, which they will be, any stables will live in the rebalance pools for those, just to limit the number. Like, because we don't want liquid staying out of f of x. Liquid beta equals 0 stables shouldn't be able to come out of f of x, right? Only FXUSD as the beta equals 0 stable. So those will not be liquid tokens. They will be just like the pools that back FXUSD. All of the stables will go directly into the rebalance pool and live there as long as they're basically exclusively for farming. So, boy, I kind of lost my train of thought there.
Yeah,
but
I see where you're going here, and that's you basically answered Finance Goblin's question there. So there will be other yield bearing derivatives, down the road here, in the not too distant future. In fact,
not too distant.
And we outlined them in the roadmap not too long ago, and that'll be like CVX will be the first one.
That's right. Yeah.
But they'll basically you take a dollar amount of CVX, you plug it in, you get basically a dollar amount of stable value that can farm the CVX yield, the stable CVX yield.
And having the beta equals 0, especially for those farming pairs, I think that makes sense. The beta equals 0.1 has a really good story for ETH because ETH is kind of like this big picture capital A asset that you might, in your personal view of ETH, you might think of ETH as a good proxy for the overall sort of state of crypto in the world. So if you want to sort of track a bit, we made all these arguments in the white paper and in endless discussions and podcasts and stuff. But basically, the idea of the 0.1 beta is to have what you can think of as either an inflation hedge or having it kind of anchored in the Ethereum economy as opposed to anchored to the US economy, and be able to sort of maintain a little bit of exposure to that crypto world without the volatility of the crypto world. That's kind of the idea. And that makes sense for ETH. I don't think it makes as much sense for the farming tokens, right? Because farming tokens are not I don't think they're really held in the same way as ETH. You can a lot of people want to hold ETH as money and you can denominate all of crypto in ETH, whereas individual farming tokens are really more about either speculating on the price or farming the yields. And so I don't think that the 0.1 beta really, just my personal opinion, right? But I don't think the 0.1 beta makes as much sense for those.
Yeah.
So
FETH is sort of a special case in that regard.
Absolutely. But as Cyril says, if there is market demand for FETH as this 0.1 beta product, then potentially in the future we look at upgrading it to the FX USD model and essentially make FETH an asset backed by multiple LSDs in the same way that FX USD will be. So maybe I'm speaking out of turn, but I feel like this is a possibility in the future that we can talk about. But step one is to figure out if our mechanism works on FXUSD.
Absolutely. Okay.
It's got to be more than just KMETs using it.
Well, yeah. You definitely want to see the number go up. If I start using it, we've all seen how that goes. So.
Oh my goodness. Yeah. Well, the worst thing that can happen is KMET starts using it, gets excited about it, and writes an article. That's that's end of the world situation.
Yes, it's what is it from Harry Potter, the Dementors, where they suck the life out of your soul or whatever. That's who I am apparently.
Yeah. That's what was it? I feel like I haven't actually watched it, but I've got a friend who's been lobbying me to watch this. What We Do in the Shadows, the TV show version.
Oh, it's a good show. Yeah, you'd love it.
Yeah, and anyway, so anyway, he's described the energy vampire to me several times.
Yes. He's the best character on the show. You'd love it. Yeah, absolutely.
All right, Cyril says, my point is I see FETH as a public good and that should be funded and promoted, especially if it gets more decentralized. That is like Cyril. I don't disagree with that. It is for sure. It is for sure one of the ways that you can position FETH as compared to an FXUSD. But the flip side is like, does it make sense for the protocol to be using protocol assets to essentially subsidize it? Because that's what we're talking about with an FXUSD carve out. Is essentially the whole protocol is saying that like we don't trust the market to correctly choose FETH as being a thing that they should be supporting, and so we are going to unilaterally use our resources to support it.
Yeah,
Which is not necessarily wrong, right? Like there's definitely an argument to be made that like we think that FETH is important enough, and or even a business case to be made to say like we think that FETH will become important, and that people just like let's say you've got FETH and FXUSD, they're essentially competing against each other. They're very similar kinds of tokens. If FXUSD gets the majority of the attention and FETH gets less, you can say that, well, you know, the business case is we believe that FETH is just going to grow over time. And so we want to make sure that we keep it alive until the market has a chance to kind of really recognize it. So there's that kind of like business case. And then there's also the sort of general sort of principle case of this is important because it's decentralized, but you need the governance, like you need the VEFXN holders to agree with that view so much so that they choose to spend money, essentially, spend protocol resources to subsidize it.
Yeah.
Interesting questions.
Goblin asked, the only issue behind something that uses a two-token system behind FCVX, FXCRV is probably whether or not enough people would be willing to hold a leverage long counterpart to offset the farming fees that Aladdin DAO takes. Yeah, and that goes with everything that we've constructed.
Well, let me poke at that a little bit, Finance Goblin. I'm not sure the farming fees of Aladdin DAO really. I don't know that has much to do with it, right? Like, there's not really so much a fee that's coming off for Aladdin so much as all of the yields are being directed to the rebalance pool. But you're absolutely right that like every one of these pairs depends on the leverage long counterpart, right? Like that without demand on the long side, there's no support for the stable side, right? And you have to have both of those things in order to generate demand overall for the reserve token that powers the whole thing. So for sure, there's always, with every stable leverage pair, there's always the issue of, is there going to be sufficient demand on both sides, right? And you know, the inverse is also true. Like you have to have demand for the stable in order for the leverage to have leverage, right? If the leverage token represents 95% of the reserve, then the leverage is going to be like 1.01x, and you're not really doing anything different than holding the reserve token.
Yeah. So obviously, it's important to have demand on both sides. So,
well, it is, but you know, the whole principle here of these pairs is that they are each legitimately new utility added to the underlying token, right? And so presumably, if you are a protocol that's looking to spin up a farming pair, it's because you suspect that there is demand for both stable farming and leverage. And I've mentioned this before, I think that there's also the possibility that protocols might choose to take one side or the other of that in order to either, you know, in order to take a bigger bet on themselves on the X side, or in order to sort of just create extra demand for their token. If they think there's a ton of stable farming demand, they might choose to take X. Or if they think there's a ton of price speculation demand, they can choose to take the stable side, hold the stables in their treasury, and basically create that you know, keep the leverage up as a protocol. They can choose to keep the leverage up in their X token, and if they think there's demand there, right? So there's a lot of different ways that the protocols who are providing the tokens in these reserves can actually play this that might be useful.
Yeah. So
yes. CGN says create a DEX. Degens will handle the demand. Well, we don't talk about the future too much here because we don't want to tip our hand. But there's definitely arguments to be made for other ways that this mechanism could be extended in the future. So
That's right. Lots of possibilities.
cut me off before I say too much, K-Mets.
All right. Well, I tell you what, we've got another cool new thing for FX that'll be coming out here in like this week, actually, and that is we got a new UI that we have been tweaking and are ready to share with the community. So
Yeah, and I mean we're gonna punt this thing out and let people take a look at it and look for some feedback here.
yeah, we took a lot of the suggestions and feedback that that users gave us, a little while back, and have kind of been looking to tweak the UI, and also kind of like get it, prepared for, once FXUSD kind of comes on board as well. So
Yeah, exactly.
but yeah, just that'll be rolling out here very shortly, like I said, and so folks take a look, and if you have any more feedback or tips or tweaks, or you just like it overall, let us know.
Or if you don't like it, that is also completely legitimate.
That's true too. Yeah.
Like we
You
are.
can complain to Kruger all you want. He loves.
Yeah,
to hear.
it's I'm so we'll make office hours for K-Mets and I. I may be busy at that moment, but in all honesty, it is actually really important. If you don't love it, if there's anything there that you don't love, say so. Keep in mind, we're a DeFi team. We are not like a web design team, right? We're not gurus at that kind of stuff like Linero. It's more like we're just kind of feeling around in the dark here. So
yeah, it's
maybe not quite that bad, but definitely
yeah.
looking for community feedback all the time.
Yeah, definitely want to make sure that it's intuitive and folks know how to use it and understand it and can get to where they want easily and without any trouble. So
yeah, exactly. Well, and it's tricky too because everybody uses FFX in a way, right? And
that's
so like
absolutely true. Yeah.
The optimal UI for like one type of user is not really the optimal UI for another. And of course, it's all on chain, guys. So if you can build your own UI for your use case, you should. But
exactly,
probably makes sense for us to provide a public one.
yeah, we'll but that'll be rolling out here soon, so you'll get a chance to take a peek at that, like I said, this week.
Yeah, absolutely.
All right.
All right, 6 minutes in, and it's time for agenda item number 2.
Yeah. All
to
right.
be fair, though, to be fair to us, actually the majority of the agenda was FFX. So we're done FFX, and we've talked about everything. And let's move it on to Clever.
Yeah, Clever. We've got a new proposal that was posted earlier this week to increase the Clever yield fee from 30% to, or I'm
Other
sorry,
way around.
Yeah,
Other way around.
Increase the Clever. Man, I'm dying over here.
Do you need a moment? You go have a glass of water.
Yeah.
We're going to increase the yield fee, the harvest fee on Clever from 20 to 30%. And I think we talked about this pretty extensively last week. I don't know that we need to get back into it. Although if anybody wants to, it wasn't clear or you want to chat about it a little more, drop your questions in chat. Let me know. But basically the idea is we are kind of twiddling the knobs on Clever. The fee increase, and I think this is an important thing to make sure that people understand. Obviously on the call, I think everybody does, but out in the world when they see a proposal to pump a fee up, it's probably not your first instinct is probably not, oh, this is great as a user. But in fact, the idea here, we're increasing the harvesting fee and we're directing all of that increased fee directly to the furnace. So the idea here is just to twiddle the knobs and change a little bit where the borrowing user actually pays. So right now, borrowing users pay they pay a very, very low borrowing fee, like a kind of an absurdly low borrowing fee when you calculate it in APR terms. But then they pay a high one-time swap fee, which is swapping through the this Clev CVX and CVX pool on Curve, which is obviously very highly imbalanced. It's got very low liquidity on the CVX side, and the discount is quite high as a consequence of that. And so the idea here is by basically pulling back that discount by goosing the yields into the furnace. And so essentially what we're doing from the borrower's perspective, the idea is we are going to reduce, hopefully reduce the fee that they have to pay, i.e. the discount when they swap, and increase the like slower ongoing fee that they pay in terms of the APR, just to balance it out a little bit better. And help once that liquidity gets better balanced in the swap pool. Right now it's like pay a teeny little bit ongoing and a ton at once. If we can kind of balance those two, that'll balance the liquidity in the swap pool and hopefully open up Clever to be more useful to more people, including in particular bigger stacks. Right now, if you've got any significant volume to move through that Clev CVX liquidity pool, it does not look great, and so balancing that guy out should hopefully open it up to bigger players.
Yeah. So I posted the link here in the chat, so you're welcome to go and read the proposal and vote. So there you go.
Absolutely, sounds good. Last Clever thing is booster round, which we kicked off last week, and I think that there are 2 tokens still open for voting on the booster round. Is that right?
That's right. Yeah, we've got the VE Clev and the XALD holders. They until tomorrow. Tomorrow, early morning tomorrow. So it's today, guys. Just today. Think of the deadline as like soon, like nowish, and this is your chance to vote. So get out there and vote. Rock the vote, as the kids say. The kids do say that, and get that clever reward those clever boosters. That's right. Yeah,
and maybe check out anybody who's written an article or a post about Clever recently. If you can find a correlation between the article or post and like the price of Clev, for example, you can get a good idea of the value that booster brings to the whole ecosystem. So it's a nice little bit of ground truth there, as we say in the business.
Once again, I apologize for supporting Aladdin products. Oh man, guys, I'm cursed. I am cursed.
We ripped the Band-Aid off now.
Yeah, there you go. My apologies all around. Okay. Well, there we go. Yeah, is there still time to change our votes for K-Meds? Absolutely. Yes.
Yeah, in fact there is. You can change your snapshot votes right up until the deadline.
Yeah. Absolutely.
Which causes, by the way, no end of trouble with things like CVX voting, just as a by the way. So I don't know.
What?
Maybe that's because the idea is because the emission allocation kind of changes every time somebody votes, and like
I see.
The optimal voting, you don't know the optimal vote until the very last minute, and so a whole bunch of the mechanism of Clever. And the work that the team does, week in, epoch in and epoch out, week in and week out, the work the team is doing is getting these systems so that the Clev votes are optimal as of the very last second, right? It's actually a little bit of a competition there.
Yeah, it's quite a bit of calculating. I see where you're going there. Yeah.
Yeah. It's a little bit of a detour there. Every now and again with Kruger, you get a little your little detour. You get a little bonus.
Like, where's Kruger headed now? Yes, Now we see.
Yeah, and everybody is more enlightened for having heard me say it. So,
oh boy.
I guess what I'm trying to say, K-Mets, is you're welcome.
Yeah, well, we appreciate you, sir. We thank you for your input.
I love to hear that.
All right. Yeah, and that's kind of clever for this week.
Yeah. Not too much on the concentrator front, other than just keep on keeping on, and all the stuff that's cooking on concentrator is kind of middle to long term, but it's cooking. So stay tuned. And by the way, it's not only is stuff cooking on concentrator, but concentrator keeps chugging along as I say the engine of Aladdin products. Is this the little engine that could, the medium-sized engine that could?
I mean, it's got it. I mean, it's still holding TVL, man. Like it is a stalwart.
Yeah, including mine. Like you gotta it's just this is concentrator was made from the beginning as not like an exciting DeFi protocol, but just like a smart long-term place to park your money and you know, increase your yields and hold what you want to hold and farm what you want to farm. So keeps doing that, and I keep loving it.
Yeah, it's pretty great. So, all right. And then for Aladdin, just kind of a little update on sort of the tokenomics, because I know folks have been asking about this in the Discord about the token cap, and just kind of a heads up, like once it hits 150 million, like the token minting will cease. So
Yeah, and so this is now okay. Just to kind of bring this full circle, we had a vote, we talked through all of last year that we are going to cap the emissions, like hard cap the emissions at 150 million. I think I probably undersold the like triviality of that. Like there is actually dev work that needs to go into changing that, making that hard cap change. And so basically what's happened is that with FXUSD having like exploded onto the devs to-do list, like some kind of, help me out here, K-Meds. What explodes onto a to-do list?
I mean, like,
So basically, we just turn off minting when we hit 150 million cap. That's it.
Well, hold on a second, Charlene. What I thought that the idea was that doesn't change the turning off
We
minting.
we have 2 million to go, right? And so basically, we'll just turn off minting when we hit 150 million cap.
But does that then programmatically eliminate the possibility to mint more?
Yeah.
Oh,
We'll
so
turn off
I
minting.
miss.
We'll
Okay,
turn off
okay,
minting. Yeah.
okay. Permanently
So
though.
we're just waiting for the number to hit 150, and we'll just turn off minting. That's it.
Okay, so I
tell you
apologize.
what.
I'm apparently badly misinformed. Let's try this again, guys.
Here's what I'll do. I'll write an article, and
Yeah.
that will completely stop
Please.
the minting of any LD tokens.
Yeah, no, we want to get there, K-Mets. We need demand to get there. There's a couple of million left. All right, let me try that. You know what? Because we're gonna fix this in post, everybody. We're gonna go back and edit it. Maybe Paul, you're gonna edit the recording, right? You're gonna delete all of the stuff that I said it was apparently completely wrong. I misunderstood the situation. So let me try again.
We can make the link lost somehow. If you
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Oh no! Shoot. No. You know what? At this point in time, I'm pretty sure that I have the correct amount of credibility in the community. So people understand. Every now and again, you get a little whoopsie do. You get a little oops. Okay. 150 million. We are minting out to 150 million. Then my mistake. We are minting out. So we will. XALD tokens are minted on an ongoing basis. They are emitted through the good old, at least the old rebase mechanism that goes to XALD. XALD is the staked ALD. So essentially, we are emitting those in an ongoing way at a relatively slow rate, but we are quite close to the cap. And so when minting gets disabled, when we hit 150 million, which was the agreed upon snapshot voted amount, we will disable minting, and that will, if my new understanding is correct, that will be the once that is disabled, that will kind of change the maximum ever cap of ALD, and all those changes should flow through. So, Charlene, again, just to be clear, that will change the maximum supply on CoinGecko and kind of like an irreversible thing. Is that right?
Yeah, we just update those guys, those data providers, because the minter is turned off, so it won't be able to mint more ALD.
There you
Right.
go.
Okie doke. Well, that isn't that easy. Isn't that slick? So we're trucking to 150 million. Charlene, do you have like our emissions there are actually known? Do we know when we're going to hit that?
So it rebase around 20K a day. 2 million to go is about 100 days. Unless
Okay.
we have a bonding event, but we're turning off bonding as well. So there won't be.
Of course. Okay, makes sense. All right, so 100 days. 100 days to the 100 days to 150 million, and that'll be it. That'll be the last of the ALD going out in the world. Makes sense. Okay. Next
right.
up, You got something to talk about for A-Team, K-Mets?
Yeah, we've got a Twitter space, X space today with Curvants. We're gonna have Curvants on just to
Oh, cool.
chit chat about they'll be launching here in a couple of weeks I believe, or they'll update us on that today, and so just kind of give us the scoop on that, and we'll kind of also talk about some FXUSD updates as well on the space, just kind of talk about that, and so hopefully folks can join us as well and hang out. That'll be at 1900 UTC, so on Twitter. So
What time is that in like normal person hours?
are you considering anyone on this call normal, or
Myself.
oh,
I'm the
well,
diamond in the rough of DeFi, as I've been called many
for
times.
you, sir, it is 2 p.m. Eastern Standard Time.
2 p.m. Oh, well, that makes sense. I don't think anybody actually anywhere near the UTC time zone. I only know like 2 people, so I mean, how many could there be?
I don't know. It's
not many.
It's the one skill in crypto I'm surprised I had to pick up was the ability to convert my time zone to UTC. So
You got that skill? Wow.
well,
that's-
I can only do that. That is all I can do. I can do that. And I can tank the price of Aladdin tokens. Those are my two skills.
Oh,
Those I have down cold.
The man with 2 superpowers.
Oh boy. So there's that. And then also, I just now remembering this. I'll be on the llamas have their community call on Friday, and I'll be hopping in there to talk all things about the FXN booster round.
Boy,
FXUSD.
you really get around, K-Mets. You got a full, as my grandparents would have said, you got a full dance card.
I tell you what, I'm a busy bee over here. I'm a busy bee.
Right.
So, but
Well,
I love
I mean-
talking about Aladdin stuff. So
Yeah, well, it's
happy to do it. So
not onerous work, I suppose, but you know what? We get you,
that's right.
K-Mets, and all you do. Apart from the articles, we don't appreciate those as much. I mean, the articles we appreciate, maybe not the ripple effect, but
the side effects thereof.
yeah. But we do love to hear you getting out there.
Yeah, and we've also got a new Aladdin newsletter out, so the link is posted in the Discord. So go check that out. We've got.
Oh, can we drop that into the channel here, into the text?
We can do that, absolutely. So
Feels like or we could get Paul too. In any case, guys, if you can believe it, it's 10:01. Well, my time anyway. It is an hour and a minute past the official start of this call time, and we have reached the end of our agenda. We are getting good at this, K-Mets. I mean,
are
really
we?
good at it.
I
think so. We started good, and we just got better.
We also have a saying here in Texas that is a blind
Oh boy,
squirrel
here comes.
finds a nut.
Yeah, even a blind squirrel.
Yeah, a broken clock. That's twice a day.
Twice a day. Yeah, exactly. Well, those are not Texas only. We got those here too. So they're universal. They're maybe not universal, but I know what you mean.
Yeah, there you go.
Live my life by that philosophy. Actually, we did well. We just got them, and in actual fact, mine is due to be wound.
You have a clock that you have to wind?
In fact, I do. You thought I was joking. No, I do have a clock you have to wind.
It does not surprise me coming from you, actually.
It's a family heirloom. It's one of those. It's like a gingerbread clock, I guess they're called. Like it's one of those. Like basically, when clocks first became sort of like mechanical clocks first became kind of like mass manufacturable, or like not mass, but like they weren't like custom items. Then these kind of gingerbread clocks became popular, and so it's not anything like amazing, but it's kind of cool, and it keeps remarkably good time considering the fact that it's like 100 years old, and I have to wind it with a key. It gains or loses like a handful of minutes a week.
Oh, that's not bad. Pretty good.
Yeah, exactly, and then you get this pleasant ticking noise in your ear all the time, which unless you work on the bomb squad, it's kind of nice to have. Linero's got fancy watches that you wind. You know what, Linero? I skipped right to the auto wind. I have a mechanical watch that I love, but rarely wear because I depend on mine so much to keep me on task. That the auto winding mechanicals, I love them.
Yeah, those are pretty slick.
I love stuff. We've talked about this before, haven't we? That like both Kmets and I have a weakness for stuff that is cool, especially if it's cool. But
Yeah, anything that's got moving parts and complexity. That's that's my
or
jam.
electrons.
Yes, electrons, transistors, gadgets, and whatnot.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, you'll have to tell me sometime about your watch collection, Linero, because I'm interested to hear about it. They are very cool on the. And actually, do you know what? If you want a little bit of a rabbit hole, jump on YouTube and look for watch repair.
I've done it. It's great.
Yeah, it is actually pretty amazing. And every time I watch videos like that, I'm always under the mistaken impression that I could do that thing quite easily. And it's like, how hard? Like, you watch the guy, it's like he just does it. It's easy. But man, watch that first. Maybe try your hand at watch repair second, but watch the videos first.
Yeah, they're very cool.
And
all right,
let's shut it down. Okay,
Let's
we've
call it a
we've
ball
wasted
game.
enough of these good people's time.
That's right. All right. Well, thanks everybody. We'll see you down the road.
We appreciate you all, and drop your questions, comments, concerns, and complaints about KMETs into the Discord. we will be seeing you there and hanging out this week, and we'll talk again in about a week. How's that work for you?
Sounds good.
KMET's good. About a week.
Same
All right.
time, same bat channel. All right.
Yeah.
Adios.
Thanks, everyone.
Ciao, everyone.
Bye.
Thank you.